This is music, and this is nasty, it's filthy, it's dirty, and it's horrible. Welcome to another First Impressions video. In these videos I normally share with you my first impressions of the many blind buys I've picked up lately. This time, however, it is a special edition. I'm going to follow up on an awesome VCLT I was sent by none other than Marc G with a C, who sent me a handful of nasty, filthy, dirty, horrible, and disgusting death metal from the UK. So let's get down to business. Up first, some cassette tapes, starting out with this one here, Throne by Fennec. I actually also received a copy of this from Pieface, so I will follow up on this again or revisit it when I follow up on Pieface's VCLT. This is the type of death metal that will feed your riff face for days. It's considerably heavy without being doomy. It's groovy and it's riffy as hell. Just check out the first track. It's just a masterclass in heavy, groovy, riffy death metal. No nonsense. Riffs that are not too complicated, but that just, somehow appeal to that primal riffaholic ape man inside all of us, whatever. And you do have your blasty parts every now and then just to change things up, but for the most part I would consider this to be like heavy to mid-tempo death metal, riffy death metal, awesome stuff. The only gripe I have is that the drums sound a little bit too mechanical, but that's about it. If you need to satisfy your riff face, if you need to satisfy your inner riffaholic, here you have your drug. Up next, more Throne stuff. The Soil Throne by Malediction. I also was sent a copy of this by Pieface, so I'll revisit that too. Death metal, of course. Very old school death metal. This could have been released in 1992 or 1993. Even the guitar tone is reminiscent of that kind of compact, punchy guitar tone that a lot of 90s death metal had. The riffs are, a lot of them at least, are also 90s style death metal. And you also have some of those quasi-thrashy riffs that a lot of 90s death metal had. The vocals are great. This is a very enjoyable, just old school death metal release. I really liked it. From something that sounded like it was from the 90s to something actually from the 90s. Yeah, Marc G with a C sent me this original cassette tape from back in the day. Paradise Lost icon. It even has the Music for Nations logo on it. I have heard this one before a ton of times. I do have it on CD myself. Considered to be a milestone in the death doom genre, but to me it's not death doom. There's no death metal on here, if I'm being completely honest. To me, it's like doom metal with not even harsh vocals, but just raspy song vocals. It's kind of ironic because back when Draconian Times came out, a lot of Paradise Lost fans really complained that, now Nick Holmes has started singing, but he's actually already singing on here. It's just a bit more raspy. They have already, established their signature style here until they changed it on, Believe in Nothing, basically. The main parts of the songs are your 3, 4, 5 chord progressions with a guitar playing a melancholic but catchy melody on top. And then you have your occasional, more like old school droney doom metal riff. Most of the songs are like this on here. The best song, in my opinion, is the opening track. This is an enjoyable album. The songs are decent. Some of them are good, and a couple of them are really good. But I will say that Paradise Lost, although they were probably the biggest of the death doom bands back in the day, they were the least interesting one to me. Anathema's death doom albums are much more interesting, and My Dying Bride, forget about it. I would even say that Marc's band, Enchantment, Dance the Marble Naked, that album is better than this one, I think. But this is not a bad album, and I will say, I have to admit, no matter what, it's really cool to have it on cassette tape with the Music for Nations logo on it. So, awesome stuff. Moving on to some CDs, starting with this one here, Eternal Rot Moribund, with Marc's homemade hype sticker on it. It says Zombie Metal from Watford. Awesome artwork by Marc G. And yeah, zombie metal is a pretty good descriptor. If we take the music first of all, the drums sound very organic. They are a little bit low in the mix, but they sound organic, and I really appreciate that. The music itself is heavy to mid-tempo, primitive, I would say, death metal, with riffs which themselves are kind of like no nonsense, but quite simple riffs, and they're repeated quite a lot, and you have like different variations on the same riff as well. And then you have, which I think is really interesting, like weird organs on top of some of it. You have some parts that sound like stoner doom almost, just too heavy to be stoner doom, if you know what I mean. But they have that kind of groovy vibe. There are parts that sound like death and roll. Some of the guitar solos are kind of like rock solos, and I think that's just super interesting. Nice mix with that sort of stuff, and then this primitive kind of zombie oriented death metal. And the vocals, that's just a bunch of gargles, basically. It sounds like a bunch of zombies having a conversation while emerging from the sewer looking for brains to eat. So this is actually a very entertaining listen, but also in the good way, very disgusting death metal. I have to take a shower after this for sure, but very enjoyable zombie death metal with some quirky things, which is what I really appreciate about this. And then just insane gargly vocals. Okay, up next, I guess kind of zombie related too. No More Room in Hell, which is taken from a line from Dawn of the Dead. And this, according to Marc's homemade hype sticker, this is death metal from the West Midlands. The dead will walk the earth. Right, so No More Room in Hell, the dead will walk the earth. So that's a nod to Dawn of the Dead. There's even the first track starts out with a sample from the 2004 version of Dawn of the Dead. So it is also kind of horror zombie related death metal. This is also riffy. This is also groovy. This is probably the most groovy one of the bunch, which I really like. Lots of great riffs on here. Also just no nonsense stuff on this one. The drums also sound a little bit mechanical on here, which is a shame. But again, it's not a deal breaker, because the riffs are so groovy. This is another slab of death metal that will satisfy your inner riffaholic. And just to change things up a little bit, we got some technical death metal from London, according to Marc's homemade hype sticker. This is Unfathomable Ruination, and it's called Finitude. And yeah, this is your technical death metal. It has everything you want in technical death metal. Changes and turns, stops and starts, crazy guitar acrobatics, advanced solos, weird stuff going on, fast blast beats, vocals that they sound somewhere in between early Cannibal Corpse and early Suffocation. So just a very challenging listen for sure. Lots of things happening. Then what happens sometimes is they go into either like just a groovy riff or a thrashy riff, like in the first track, for example, Pestilential Affinity, there's a part that just sounds like thrash metal, which is cool. Some of the other songs have some breakdowns and some more groovy parts where you have like less insane stuff going on, and that's always like an attention grabber. So that's a nice part of the dynamics of the songwriting, that you have some really impressive technical, insane, brutal death metal, and then that's punctuated by some more solid, if you know what I mean, parts. So this is a very enjoyable but also quite challenging listen. If you like your brutal death metal, if you like your tech death metal, it should be right up your alley. I enjoyed it for sure. I enjoyed the challenge, and I also enjoyed it when they settled in on some thrashier and groovier parts. So there you go. Nasty, filthy, dirty, horrible, and disgusting death metal from Marc G with a C. I have to take a shower now. Now go and check out his channel. He shows a lot of death metal. He is one of the outstanding members of the vinyl community. So go check out his channel, especially if you like your death metal. He also did a really cool entire series on UK thrash metal. He's a big supporter of the underground scene, the UK metal scene as well, but also the sort of international extreme metal scene. Again, thanks to Marc G with a C for sending me this handful of nasty death metal. Like I said, I'm gonna take a shower. Thanks for watching.